Good evening, welcome everybody. Tonight's meeting is a public meeting hosted by the Committee of the Whole Community Development regarding an application to amend our township's zoning bylaw. My name is Chris Ward, and this is the Development Committee. It's also the council. And I'd like to welcome our applicant, Dave Nanton of Front-End Planning and Design, Dave Annabelle of Annabelle Design, as well as Dennis Simard, who's the property owner as well. Welcome to township staff as well, and to members of the public. Thank you for attending. Okay, so I just need from the committee approval on the agenda. As everybody read the agenda and they have anything okay with it? Do I have a mover for that? Moved by Councilor Martel, seconded by Deputy Mayor Dillabaugh. All right, moving on to disclosure of pecuniary interests or conflict. Sorry, yeah, thanks. I should call that question. I'd like to call it a question. All in favor? Aye. Unanimous? All right, thank you. Moving on to number 3, disclosure of pecuniary interests or conflict of interest and the general nature thereof. Does anybody have any conflict of interest? None. Okay, that's good. All right, number 4. For process information, we're going to reach out to our community development coordinator to give it a summary.
Thank you very much, through the chair. So the purpose of this meeting is to consider applications to amend our zoning bylaw for the property at 161 and 163 Shanley Road. Tonight's public meeting is held under the authority of Section 34 of the Planning Act and was advertised in accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act. It was advertised in the Brockville Reporter and Times, also the Press Box this week, newspapers, mailed to property owners within 120 meters of the subject land. It was advertised on our website in the meeting calendar. So anyone who wishes to speak to the proposed amendment will be given the opportunity to do so. Before you share comments, I just ask that you provide your name to our clerk. Your comments will be recorded in the meeting minutes and they do become part of the public record. The applicant is going to have the opportunity to address any concerns related to the proposed amendment after all the comments are heard tonight. Formal written comments are also welcome. Please address written comments to council. You can send them to myself, the community development coordinator. The email address is in the public notice you received, or you can come chat with me after. You can also drop them off at the township office. Will be addressed to council, and you can send them to me. Please do this as soon as possible if you want to submit written comments, just to give our committee and council the appropriate amount of time to consider all the feedback. It's also important to submit comments if you were going to make an appeal on council's decision. If you don't make an oral presentation tonight or written submission to the council before the bylaw is passed, you will not be entitled to appeal council's decision to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Additionally, you may not be added as a party to a hearing of an appeal before the Ontario Land Tribunal unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to do so. So the committee could make a recommendation to council at tonight's meeting, but this is not a meeting of council, and there will not be a decision made at tonight's meeting. Staff recommend that committee take into consideration any comments heard tonight and direct staff to prepare a draft bylaw for the next committee of the whole community development meeting. If you'd like to be notified of council's decision, you must make a request in writing to the community development coordinator. Without this written request, a notice of council's decision will not be mailed to you. So you can make that written request to me tonight, or you can send it to my email address or drop it off at the township anytime before the bylaw is passed, with the exception, of course, of the applicant and property owner building the notice of decision. Can you share, should I go into number 5?
Yep, absolutely.
So the proposed amendment for 161, 163 Shanley Road. The purpose of the amendment is to change the zoning on approximately 0.12 hectares of the property from general commercial to general commercial with a special exception in order to permit an existing dwelling as an additional use. Also to increase the maximum lot coverage from 30% to 44%. To establish minimum parking requirements of 10 spaces. And reduce the minimum required setback from a parking area abutting a residential zone to 0 meters. The amendment also proposes to change the zoning on approximately 0.18 hectares of the property from general commercial to residential third density special exception in order to permit a 12-unit apartment building with surface parking on the property and establish site-specific zone standards to accommodate the residential use, including increased density from 1 dwelling unit for 230 meters square, which is required in the R3 zone, to one dwelling unit for 152 meters square. It would also reduce lot frontage from 45 meters to 22 meters, and reduce the minimum required setback from a parking area of a residential zone to 0 meters. So this proposed amendment would fulfill a condition of severance approval, which applies to the severed and retained lands of the severance application. So the severance application would propose 2 separate lots, and the zoning amendment would amend the zoning on each of those lots. We have senior planner David Hanson from Hotel Planning and Design, who's here to share some more about the proposal through the chair.
Okay. Thank you very much, Wendy. That's great. So at this time, we would like to move forward with any public comments, essentially at this point in time. So is there anybody, okay. We're going to speak, sorry?
So, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yep, no problem. Sorry about that. Yep.
Oh, possible to share the content, sure. Or Twitter or. No, the last part is the next. Maybe so not speaking with my back, I think that's also. That's. Through you, Chair, and I thank you for your patience. Thank you for everyone who hosted. So as introduced, my name is David Hanson. I'm a registered professional planner from Province, Ontario, with both consultants and representing the applicants. For the rezoning application for 161 and 163 Shane Road. To begin with just a little bit of context of the property itself, the site itself is located in the village of Cardinal. Primary uses around the property itself are 1- to 2-story residential properties, and there are community facilities, some commercial uses, and parks within walking distance to the site. The site itself currently features existing commercial and residential use of the west portion of the property. The lot area is approximately just shy of 3,100 square meters, and it features frontage on 3 roads. County Road 22 or Shirley Road, Adelaide, as well as Montreal. As alluded to, with a detailed overview of the nature of the application, I think Wendy, absent approvals for the site include provisional consent approval to create 1 additional lot from the parent parcel. So the idea was the consent application was brought forward to create 1 new residential lot in the neighborhood. That did receive provisional approval, and as a condition, a zoning amendment was required for both retained and the separate parcel, that being to bring the site into better compliance and conformity with the zoning bylaw for the existing as well as the proposed. Just a quick policy overview. The official plan designation of the property is Southern Policy Area. At a high level, this designation is intended to accommodate growth, and this growth is to be directed residential, commercial, and building. The current zoning that we're addressing today is general commercial zone, which applies to the entire site. This zone category broadly represents and permits a range of commercial uses, however, is somewhat restricted in terms of accessory additional residential uses. Bringing out to the intent of the application. So the intent of the application is to permit the existing residential apartment building on the separate lot, which is the intent of the operation of this application process. Additional intent of the application is to permit the existing single detached dwelling, which exists on the retained lot fronting on the chimney, as well as establishing performance standards that reflect existing conditions. And this is both pertaining to the process. Now, kind of getting into the part of the matter, some of the details of the application is submitted. With respect to the retained lot, we are seeking to rezone from the general commercial to a site-specific general commercial zone. Again, this is to seek to permit the existing single detached dwelling at the site, increase the maximum lot coverage, which results, the efficiency once the service per was legally available. Decrease the minimum parking setback requirement, which will reflect existing conditions, and then reduce the parking area setback. With respect to the severed lot intent of the application, going from the CG zone to a site-specific residential for density. That zone category was selected as was most appropriate as it permits the parking use as of right. Site-specific provisions will also address the decreased minimum lot frontage. This is an existing condition. There isn't quite 30 meters of frontage on either Avenue or Marjorie Street, so once the severance happens, the permit, so fine. And then again, we reduce parking area setbacks to on 7 lots as well. And this is a relation to a parking aisle or a parking space as an approximate residential. The provisions of the zoning bylaw require a minimum of 2 meters feet. This is a conditions to accommodate the aisle, appropriate parking is challenging. So well, we're going to be happy with some very specific, just going to move to summary. In essence, for our review, the application is requires a condition of consent for the provision to approve severance. The zoning bylaw amendment will establish setbacks reflecting the existing conditions on site, and also permit residential development within the settlement area. Our findings were that the application conforms with the township and United County's legal regulation plan, along with consistent with policy. Yes. All said, the location and development scale as we proposed this evening, we believe this represents good planning. Comments and questions? This evening.
Great summary there. All right, now we're going to move on to any public comments or questions that we have. Is there anybody present in the public who would like to comment on the proposed amendment? Yes.
Fence along the beam on the right hand side. They're going to be able to fence the wall. So I'm related to certain sense. So hands from the influence and we like people for the years. So we should be able to fence up the cars and walk past.
So one of the question if I'm the chair.
Actually, just can I get your name by the way? Sorry about
It's
that.
Brenda Champagne.
Brenda Champagne. Great, thank you.
So one of the conceptual developments we had in one of the requests still accommodate an opportunity to follow the screen where we actually constantly so that's so we strategically set them up in a way where as best we can with a screen of this naturally having this one into partially in a lot and then buffering the screen.
He lives right here.
So the parking area will extend into there so that no traffic or no traffic from the public, but it is intended as city buffers.
Sorry, can I get your name as well, ma'am? Sorry, say that again, sorry. Lila Pippen, thank you very much.
I'm just,
We have people coming in now, and are raising on me on that. Bringing up dirt and stuff to be free for dirt. And that's what we're concerned with, especially when you're gonna be digging and doing all this other stuff, that you don't want to be protected as well. Especially with when you're driving, even back there, the barrel probably with great time. So we're just questioning if we put a fence or something else, so we at least have some privacy.
that's something we consider the closest offers or that's saving with something. Any residential. Well, basically, the don't have that box. So that's what's going to be taken as following the consideration of the zoning amendment is the separate lot policy. The new residential is in some. That's really the opportunity for developers and township work together to raise this landscape, an appropriate fence and kinds. So it has to be considered. But I
People don't have, maybe, people working on vehicles right now, they've gone over stakes in the ground, so there's no they have to. Okay.
Yeah, I was just actually down there this afternoon, I hear you saying, so, but I think when we get closer to, this is talking about the zoning itself, as we get closer to the construction aspect of it, I think there'll be other controls put in place around that time. So with that, maybe we bring that conversation up. Okay, that's good, thank you very much. Is there anyone else who has any questions or comments they'd like to discuss on the proposed amendment? Okay, now I'd like to ask this 3 times, is that still the rule, or is that, we had this before now? Okay. Is that a process that we have to correct, or is it okay? Going once, going twice, anybody have anything else? No, okay. So at this time, we don't usually do it, but we're in the middle of changing things a little bit. And so from the anybody on the committee as well, we know we're going to be bringing this back before us hopefully early May for the CDC in May is our thing we're looking at now. But while we have everybody here, is any questions that anybody from the committee would like to ask as well? No? All right, good. All right, so then we move on to the committee recommendation. So the committee recommendation states that staff recommend that committee defer this item to the next committee of the whole community development meeting, May 6th, and request that staff provide a draft bylaw for committee's consideration that takes into account any comments heard at tonight's meeting. Okay, do I have a mover for that? Moved by Councillor Smale. Do I have a seconder? Moved by seconded by Councillor Martel. Okay, all in favor? Okay, good. All right, so now that we've had that, we're going to be moving that conversation to May 6th. At that point in time, I guess the expectation will be actually back in town in Town Hall in Spencerville. I think that's where we're going to be. So we'll be happily back there, back at our home. Okay, so then the next steps here, the application will be considered at an upcoming committee of the whole. We just talked about that, where council will consider the committee's recommendation and any comments from the public before making a decision on these applications at a future meeting of council. For those that wish to attend, committee and council meetings agendas are posted to the council calendar on twpec.ca. This may be a special meeting of council because of the regularly scheduled meeting would not come to meet the timeline required for the Planning Act. Once a decision is made by council and notice of decision is mailed, there will be a 20-day appeal period. As a reminder, if you wish to be notified of council's decision, you must make a written request to the township through the community development coordinator. Okay.
Can I just ask a question?
Sure.
New process, so still trying to get used to it. So for the residents that have had questions, there's no binding decision or anything like that made tonight. We're just deferring this item to give staff time to address any comments or any concerns, and then we'll have a full discussion about it again on May the 6th. Am I correct in that?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. And by making comments tonight there was no declaration whether it was for or against, but it allows them, if they wanted to appeal to their, whatever it's called at this point, they've made their concern heard, and if it's not dealt with in a way that they need appropriate, they can put it.
Through the chair, there's two ways to make comments, either orally at the meeting today or written comments. Both are valid and considered and would maintain your appeal rights.
Okay, so they've done their part. That's all. I just want to make sure. Okay, good. Thank you.
Anybody else have any comments or questions? Okay, so then moving on to the adjournment section of the meeting. I need a mover to adjourn the meeting. Moved by Councilor Martel and seconded by Councilor Snail. All in favor? Right, thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate your time coming out and the feedback provided as well. Thank you very much. That's